and welcome to Anne's Family Recipe. Today we're making potato salad. I'm hosting some friends for dinner tonight and we're having a Southern-inspired meal. So I'm making some potato salad on the side. Now I'm sort of combining my mom's recipe and my mother-in-law's recipe into one amazing salad. I washed and dried 5 pounds of potatoes and then I peeled them and diced them up into small chunks. Now I have all of those in a big pot of water. I started with cold water and then I brought it up to a boil, and now it's gonna boil for about 15 to 20 minutes. It kind of depends on how big your pieces of potato are, but basically you want them to be fork tender. So if you poke a fork into the potato, it should go through really easily and kind of start to break apart a little bit. That's the perfect texture we're looking for our potato salad. So the potatoes are going, they still have about 15 minutes left, and then next to them I'm gonna get started on some hard-boiled eggs. I'm using my friend Emily's technique for hard-boiling eggs. I have struggled with hard-boiling eggs in the past. Sometimes the shells just don't come off very evenly and the egg underneath is all mangled and it doesn't look very pretty. But this method works really well. I've tried it before. What we do, we start with, I have about 8 eggs in here. I'm not sure if I'm going to use all of them. I might save a couple for my husband's lunch this week. So I have my eggs in a medium-sized saucepan. I cover them by about 1 inch with cold water. I'm going to cover them just so the boiling happens faster. But what we do is bring the water to a rolling boil and then set the timer for 7 minutes. Once the timer goes off, we're going to cover them with the lid. So they'll be at the rolling boil without the lid. We'll cover them after 7 minutes and then take them off the heat and set the timer for another 7 minutes. When that's over, we're going to either run them under really cold water or plunge them straight into ice water. Either way, we just want to cool them down, and that helps the shells peel easily off of the eggs. While the potatoes and eggs are cooking, I'm going to prep some additional ingredients for our potato salad. I'm starting with 1 green bell pepper and half of a white onion. These are 2 flavor boosters that my mother-in-law uses, and I absolutely love them. They add a little bit of crunch and of course some extra flavor to our potato salad. It's an awesome addition. Now the hard-boiled eggs are a tribute to my mom because that is an ingredient that she always uses, and then these veggies are for my mother-in-law. So I just drained all of my cooked potatoes. They only took about 15 minutes. And now I'm gonna actually put them back into the hot pot just to get, just so that some of that water kind of evaporates, because we don't want our potatoes to be too wet. This is a great trick to do too if you're making mashed potatoes, but it just gets a little bit of that extra moisture out of the potatoes. I transferred my cooked potatoes into this large mixing bowl. I probably could even use a larger one, but we're just gonna make it work today. But as you can see, they're kind of like a combination of chunks and then a little bit of smashed potatoes, and that is really what I prefer. So that means that I cook my potatoes until they were pretty soft. You can dice your potatoes any size that you want and cook them to be as firm or as soft as you prefer. So now we're gonna add all of the veggies and flavorings to our potato salad. So I'm gonna start with some mayonnaise. Now, I really like real mayo. My mom uses Miracle Whip, which I really like too. I just don't usually have that on hand. Miracle Whip has a slightly sweeter taste, and it's really good in just like a classic potato salad recipe. But today I'm using real mayo, and I'm gonna start probably with about 3/4 of a cup to a cup of mayo. This is quite a lot of potatoes, and then we can always add more as we go along. Another dressing that I'm adding is about probably a tablespoon or 2 of just regular yellow mustard. Okay, so we'll mix that in and see where we are and then add in some extra ingredients. Okay, so I mixed it all together, gave it a little taste, and I think I'm gonna add another half a cup of mayo or so. This is totally to taste, just depending on the texture and the flavor that you like. But I do like the flavor of mayonnaise, so I'm gonna add a little bit extra. So next, I'm gonna add in the half of a diced onion and my green bell pepper that I cut up pretty finely. We'll sprinkle that in. And this is another optional, but I think really amazing secret ingredient. These are pimento stuffed green olives. This is something that my mother-in-law uses. Sometimes she'll mix them in, which is what I'm gonna do today, or you can kind of decorate this the surface of your potato salad once it's all mixed together, just for kind of like a little flourish, little touch at the end. But it also gives this really, really good salty bite. You don't get it in every bite, but every once in a while you just get that pop of olive and a really strong salty bite, and I love that in this salad. So I'm gonna sprinkle in, I probably have about 1/3 cup of these green olives here. And then before I stir this all together, I'm gonna add some seasoning too. So I have just some salt and some freshly cracked black pepper. So we'll sprinkle that in. Of course, this is to taste as well. But potatoes start pretty bland, so feel free to add a lot of seasoning. Give it nice flavor. Okay, and then we'll mix this all together. My eggs are ready to go, so I'm using my spider strainer to carefully remove them from the water, and then I'm gonna put them into this bowl that I filled with ice cubes. And then we'll top it off with cold water and let them cool down a little bit so that we can peel them. So my hard-boiled eggs came out really well. I'm just starting to chop them right here. I had one dud where the peel just didn't come off, but that's okay. 1 out of like 8 or 9 isn't half bad with my track record. But I wanted to show you, see the rest peeled really nicely and evenly. So I think this is a pretty great method for hard boiling eggs. Oh, and my husband is saying he did a lot of the peeling for me, and those are the ones that came out just perfectly. So thank you, honey. Okay, so I'm just gonna dice these up. And in fact, I've decided to use all the eggs for the potato salad. It adds a really nice texture, kind of like a deviled egg sort of flavor in with the potato salad. So we're just gonna go for it and add all of the eggs. All right, so everything is mixed together, and I'm gonna give this a quick taste just to check for seasoning. It's really good. Nice and creamy. Ooh, I can't wait. Okay, this is kind of a retro classic garnish, but I'm gonna use some paprika. I love the look of that. I use that on my deviled eggs too. I'm just gonna sprinkle it all over the top. And then I'm gonna cover this with plastic wrap and pop it in the fridge for a few hours, because we're gonna have this for dinner tonight, and we want it to chill down and for all the flavors to kind of marry together. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow me on Instagram at Ann's Family Recipe. Thank you so much for joining me today in my kitchen, and I'll see you again soon with another family recipe. For the full recipe, check the description box below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen.